This is the Boom Bap Book Club, a music appreciation podcast. On this episode, we talk about Moment of Truth, the 1998 album by Gang Starr. Enjoy.
What?
What? What's up, guys? How we doing?
What's up, baby?
Oh, man. Yo, I'm very happy to see you guys. I'm very happy to get this ball rolling on this episode. Yes. Well, I saw you recently, Gary, so I don't miss you. I got my Gary fill.
I miss you far away.
Yes.
Yeah,
I miss you. You're all up in the universe right now. There's a big cat behind you. But
And he's just chilling too.
That's your glow up, bro.
Or she. Or they.
That's a yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that being said, if you're new to the show, we really dive in on the music we love here. We celebrate the music we love, and so each episode one of us picks an album that we feel strongly about, or maybe that we want to learn more about, and we all go and we do our research. That's why we call it the Boom Bap Book Club, because it's kind of like a book club. I think Boom Bap Sewing Circle didn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah.
But we do, we're bringing our thoughts, our dissection, our appreciation of this piece of music, and this episode is on something that has been on my list, something that I've wanted to discuss, something that I've been just dying to dive into because it means so fucking much to me. And yet we haven't gotten to it yet. We're like 34 episodes in, D?
Like about 30. I think about 30.
Oh shit. All right. Well, we're well on our way, and we have not yet discussed Moment of Truth by Gangstarr. How?
It's about time.
How?
This is the moment.
Feels like, well, in a sense, we've been discussing it the whole time, right? Because Moment of Truth is one of those albums that's just in the background of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canon.
Yeah. I agree with you, Gary. It's I want to, I guess I'll start this, but we'll get in because there's a lot to say about this motherfucking album. But I will start by saying, if someone asked me, like, what is the sound of New York? I might have to say it's the musical production of DJ Premier. Right?
Which is funny because he ain't even from New York.
Right.
Yes, he's not originally from New York. He originated in Texas, mm-hmm. And Guru is not originally from New York. He
anti-New York, Boston.
Listen, those days are behind us, man. Only if you're
the Yankees
only
fan, bro.
Voluntarily.
I got love for Boston, bro.
Yeah, I know. But I love Guru.
How about this? You don't have love for the Red Sox, but we got love for Boston, bro. Czarface.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, they don't have love for people that look like me that often. But we're gonna cut that out, and that's the reason I don't love Boston so much. But we can get into that a whole other time.
I'm gonna say it again. What I'm gonna say it again, and you're gonna have to agree with me on this one. But we do have love for Boston hip hop.
100%. That I will agree with you.
The Boston hip hop scene has produced some of the illest and most influential artists in my life, and some of the greatest pieces of music in hip hop have come from Boston.
Absolutely.
Guru.
Say more. Yeah.
Guru, 7L and Esoteric, Mr. Liff, Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs, fucking Virtuoso. The list goes on. The Boston underground hip hop scene is some of the illest shit, and we're gonna dive into more. We got Mr. Liff coming up in the future. We got, I love that shit. But Guru did come originally from Boston, but I think both of them repped New York to the fullest. There's even a track that goes in on that explanation, almost like, I don't know if they're overcompensating, but they do express love for New York in all of their music. So that being said, the sound of New York, I think that, like, you could talk about the architects of the sound, right? Like, it's not only DJ Premier, right? You got Q-Tip, you got Large Professor, you got Pete Rock, you got, if you want to take it back to Marley Marl, right? You got New York motherfuckers who shaped, molded, and built the sound of New York music. And
Rest in peace, K-Slay.
Rest in peace, K. Slay. Yes, another one recently deceased. Rest in peace. But that being said, I would say the pinnacle of the New York sound, the man who took all of the building blocks that Marley Marl, Large Professor, Pete Rock, Q-Tip, he was their contemporaries. Mm-hmm. But I think by the time 91 rolled around with Daily Operation, I think that DJ Premier molded and shaped the uniform. This is the sound of New York. You could say that two other architects would be Havoc of Mobb Deep and of course RZA, right? All of these guys helped shape the sound, but I would say the pinnacle of the New York sound is DJ Premier, hands down.
Totally. I think the music that came out at this time in New York, I think led by these guys, Premier especially, it determined how our heads nod. Right?
Yes.
The rhythm and tempo by which our heads naturally nod
that boom
comes
bap,
from
baby.
These people. Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It defined boom bap the way we think about it, the way we, if I'm beatboxing in the shower, it's coming from these guys.
Right. And if you're not familiar, if you go, what is boom bap? It's because the music that these men built and literally like I think it's incredible. Sorry, tangent. Yes. We're living still connected to the people who invented this music. Like we're not living with the people who invented the blues, who invented rock and roll, who invented jazz, right? Which were contemporary musics of the 20th century, mm-hmm. but we are still connected, and we could still hear from the alive voices of the men who invented this magnificent form of music, who built it out of literally nothing. This boom bap came from like a lot of struggle, right? Like you took music out of the inner city schooling for a long time, and they had to take fucking records and discover how to make samples and shape new music from old classic records. I think boom bap as an art form is a miracle that it even happened. Like, I think these men were inspired by the divine principle of the universe to build from nothingness. It's incredible. That being said, DJ Premier, oh my God. Like, just, oh my God. I would say Gang Starr is one of those groups where it's arguable that the star of the group is the music. And I'm going to get into how amazing Guru is. This is no knock on Guru, one of my favorite lyricists and rappers ever. But, the DJ, the producer, the beats, I think, are the reason that Gang Starr is so essential and legendary. And I think this album is their pinnacle. They have several classic albums, like I said, Daily Operation, Hard to Earn, Moment of Truth. I think the Owners, their album, the last album they made while Guru was alive, it's criminally slept on. I think it's incredible, the Owners. But this is their pinnacle. I really think, like, between Guru's, I think Guru elevated his lyrical and spitting ability, like it peaked here, and I think DJ Premier's production is at its finest here, and man, this album is just so fucking special to me. Do y'all remember, like, me sweating this so hard in high school?
Yeah.
Like, I do. I remember you sweating and us listening to each of the individual songs. When you recommended, hey, why don't we listen to this album? Was it your suggestion, Benny?
Yeah. My pick.
Like, so it's I'm like, I don't think I ever listened to this album. They're like, oh yeah, I know every single song on this album by heart.
Yeah, I had a feeling this would bring up some memories in the recesses of your mind, Gary. Like, I remember, like, first of all, like, high school was a crazy time in our lives. Like, fucking a lot of shit happened. A lot of shit wasn't great for me in high school, but I remember just me and you like talking about it, like being like, bro, the beat on Work, that's fucking exactly. Great. Like, you know what I mean? Like we would like have hour-long conversations about a song on this album.
Yeah, there's a few songs like Gary says, like every song in this whole album is just like was canon for us, but there are a few songs that stuck out for me in my memory. Work is one of them. Militia, Above the Clouds, maybe Robin Hood Theory is fucking dope. Yeah, like there's just exactly. And well, a little preview, but Above the Clouds probably contains one of the if not one of the best verses from one of the best lyricists of all time. That's just right away. That's just something that'll get stuck in your head. But yeah, no, like I said, like Gary and you both said, it just conjured up a lot of good memories from an otherwise weird time.
yeah, fuck yeah, man. Right. And I think I was we listened to this album for a month, right? Mm-hmm. Like this time around, like we spent a month with it. I spent a month playing it at least several times a week, honing in. What is it? Why is it? I don't usually do that unless we're talking about it. So I haven't never asked myself the question, why? Why is this album so fucking important to me, right? And I want to bring up some things about Gang Starr. It's not just this album, but what makes them stand out and special, okay? This album is long, right? I'm not saying this is what makes them special, but I'm going to get to my point. That we're talking 98. This is when all 72 minutes of that CD were filled up, right? This was no deluxe edition, no like let's release the 15 song album and then release the deluxe and then the super deluxe. No, what you got was everything. They poured their heart and soul. And so, if an album was really long and bad or like had a lot of throwaways, maybe it got forgotten. Maybe an album had that one hit that was on the radio, and then the rest of it is like, all right, I don't know, I don't need all 72 minutes of this shit, right? But they made every 72 minutes of this album count so hard, right? Now I don't know, Dion, I could be wrong. Maybe it's not the official runtime. I just know that's the limit on a CD.
Hour and 18 minutes it is. So I ain't so good with the math.
Right, we're close there. Okay, all right.
Minutes, yeah.
All right, so like literally the full capacity of CD information was used to
great value.
Right, to its maximum potential, because this was at a time, right? Like maybe if you're a child of the 2000s, you don't know what this feels like, but there was a time where unless you bought the CD or one of your friends pirated it and burned it for you, which we may or may not have done from time to time, but I had
the money, man.
Allegedly. No, but I had Moment of Truth. I did. I bought this one at fucking The Wiz. But
hell yeah.
You had to spend time with the limited amount of content you had. Right? We live in a world now where you say, I want to listen to such and such, and if you are paying $10 a month for Spotify or whatever the premium is, right? Then you can listen to whatever the fuck you want, man. If you feel like listening to Kool Keith's 38th album that came out last week, you can. If you feel like listening to Dr. Dre's first album, you can. If you feel like listening to Miles Davis's weird unreleased album that just came out, recorded in France when he was high on whatever, you can. What I'm saying is, in the late 90s, you had what you had. So you want to, the things that we kept playing were things you could spend time with, right? Busta Rhymes, Wu-Tang, A Tribe Called Quest, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, The Roots. All of these people produced albums that when you spent time with them, you got to know them. They became your friends. And this is one of those albums, the more time you spend with it, the more it pays off. Right? It took me so long to even get beyond how amazing Premier was. It took me years to fully appreciate Guru. Right? And so what I'm going to get at is like, these are the things, right? These are the building blocks that make Gang Starr so special. The fucking beats, obviously. We'll break down Primo's production style, his revolutionary sampling ability, his ear. We're going to break that down. But also his choice of beats to accompany Guru's subject matter, right? There's a lot of topical songs, which is a rare thing in hip hop, okay? Almost all of their songs are themed.
Yeah.
They might not be stories, but their songs are themed. My Advice to You, Work, The Militia, Robin Hood Theory.
Yeah, there's very little tangents on this, right?
This is themed.
Yeah.
Each song has a theme. One of the themes might be betrayal. One of the themes might be, work ethic. One of the themes might be, how the industry is a setup. All of these. I love that about Guru and about Gangstarr. It's music with intention, right? And then you have songs like Above the Clouds where there's really no intention. It's just free expression of the mind, which is mentals. Also. It's about your mentals. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But so that being said, I respect that. So, and I think that's a thing that even most of our favorite artists can't say, that their albums, majority of their songs are themed. That is an incredible aspect that I don't think they get enough respect for. And DJ Premier's production, the beats that he crafts are specific to the themes of the songs. And to me, as the nerd that I am, the one who actively listens and say, what am I listening to? Why do I love this? That's such a reward, right? Such a reward.
Benny, say more about that, because I didn't notice that. I noticed the beats are enjoyable. Right. The beats are really good. I'm not in my head to them, but I didn't notice that they're tailored to the actual subject matter of the song. Like, how does that work?
Well, think about the song Betrayal.
Yeah.
Let's just go there, right? Betrayal. Okay? Scarface, one of the greatest lyricists ever. Just such an amazing rapper. Scarface and Guru just telling these tales of heartache and betrayal, right? If you were to put that beat on right now, it is a dark beat. It is a slow beat. It is a beat that evokes the emotion of somber and perhaps tension, right? When you go to a song like The Militia, right? That song is about how they're gonna fuck you up, it's just, we are dangerous, right? Like Gary sometimes calls
it kinetic for sure.
Gary sometimes calls it goon rap, right?
Yeah.
Which I think there's a place for goon rap when it's done well, and this is goon rap, like ninja assassin goon rap, like just so good. But with that beat, right, before you even let's say you never heard that song, that beat sounds dangerous. That beat sounds like a fight.
It's like, oh shit, what am I about to?
And then just like the thumping, energetic darkness. That beat sounds like the fight is gonna break out, right? Let's go to a song like Above the Clouds, right? That beat, first of all, I think that might be the best on the album, and that might be my favorite song on the album. I don't know, one of the best beats I've ever heard in my life. But with that beat, I feel like I'm in outer space. Bum, 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 bum.
See, let's talk about that for a second. That's interesting that you think outer space. I thought, and if you listen to the original sample, the original main musical sample for Above the Clouds, is a jazz song from 1967 called Two Piece Flower, right? John Dankworth.
I love you, Dion. Thank you. I did not do my research.
Yeah, no, all good. That's what I'm here for. If you listen to that original song, it's a dope jazz song, right? But that one part, like the ding, 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 like that, it doesn't sound the way it sounds in this song. What Primo sounds like he's doing is he's trying to make it like a little more like sort of like Asian themed, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
You heard that, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Again, if you listen to the original, it doesn't it is striking those same notes, but it doesn't like do the same thing to your ears. I think maybe this is obvious, maybe it's not, but I think Primo did that on purpose because he's got Deck, he's got Wu-Tang, and it's like almost like his homage to like a RZA beat. Like this sounds more like a RZA beat mixed with a Primo beat.
Okay, wow, yeah, never.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I love that idea. Yeah, and Primo is such a master at taking the source material and just making it so different, so different. But that song does evoke this like free expression, right? Like it's like when I hear it, it's like, all right, man, express yourself. Like let's take it beyond this earthly realm. Mm-hmm. That's just where I go with it.
When you close your eyes, what color do you see?
I see literally what's behind you, Gary.
Above the
I
clouds.
see. Man.
That's above the clouds.
And yeah, so we could each song, in my opinion, the beat so perfectly matches the tone and the theme, and I think that's so special, man. I think that even the greatest producers don't always have that quality. Primo, and you know, when you go outside of Gang Starr, it's less intentional. I think Primo makes the beats for the artist, you know, whether they're doing a session with Primo or they get the beat, they make it their own. But I think Gang Starr in particular, the beats are so perfectly tailored to the song.
I actually have a really good example of that. So later in the album, one of the last tracks in the album, Next Time, right? The beat for Next Time, if you may notice that there's a lot less, and this is something, one of the many things that Primo is like just a master at, is like the scratching and like the little vocal samples and everything. There's not as much of that in this song, and I think part of the reason is because they had just lost their accountant, this woman, Mary Coleman. I guess she was very close to Primo. And so he was really sad making this, and they had to get this last song in. So Guru had to kind of like pump him up and be like, all right, just like, let's get this out or whatever. And Primo made this beat. It's off of the samples from a 1970s song, a Good Man Is Gone by Monk Higgins. So if you notice, that beat is a little bit somber, and Primo himself said that like he's almost like crying through the song. And I feel like that's why there's not as many scratches or anything, because he wasn't really focused on that. Yet he still produced like a genius beat. That's the good thing about Primo. Even him, I'm not saying he wasn't trying. He clearly was trying, but his head was in a different space, and yet he still produced this. But still, like that song is that, and the next song, In Memory Of, is like about like sort of like, just thinking about the people he lost and everything like that. So it goes right through, and you could hear it on that track. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I mean, I never put two and two together because, again, D, like I don't have your skills. You are like, people, you know how like DJs dig for records, like you dig for information, man, and like
information mining, baby.
Thank God for you, man. I did not know that story, and but yeah, now that you say it, makes sense. Makes sense for sure. Gary, I love it when we're all on the same page. I really do. Yeah, man. And I think we are today. I really do. So yeah. I know you said that, wow, all of these songs in and out, right? So take me through it. I know you listened to this a whole bunch. What talk about like hearing some songs, maybe songs that you haven't heard in a long time, or songs like hit me with it.
Yeah. So the thing that I had no idea where this was. It was filed away under like, remember it, like flash this when you're like about to die, like, and
it was in aisle 6.
Yeah, man, it was in aisle 6 under style kits. But there's a skit in there leading into, I think it was one of the most memorable things. There's a skit in there.
To whom it may concern.
So is it? I don't know. Is it to whom it may concern? No, it was like it's female rapper, right?
Okay.
I can't find the lyrics to it anywhere. But it's the best thing, right? You could give me head till I'm dead. Fuck you. Right?
It's spoken word poetry, honestly.
It's the best spoken word poetry I've ever heard.
That has to be freestyle.
I mean, it was amazing. Yeah. I want to know who this was and what else she's made, because it was the funniest and just most free-flowing natural thing. She's just kind of, it's like a long voicemail she's leaving for her dad who's in jail.
I think it's Rep Grows Bigger, right? It's the thing that precedes Rep Grows Bigger. Yeah,
it's the most memorable part of the album to me, besides like Above the Clouds. It's like at that level, there's like a masterpiece of music, and then there's this voicemail. It's the best.
You can give me head until I'm dead. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
That's right. Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those. I
can't find the lyrics anywhere. Like it's not
annotated. It's not annotated at all. They don't say who it is or anything. I'm sure Primo has talked about it at some point. But that's one of those head scratchers, not in a bad way, but it's just like Like, man, I miss the 90s. Like,
I want a 1998 size album. I want 72 minutes from this person. Like, really bad. I want to know who they are. We're missing something here.
I literally have that note for that song on my notes for this album. Love the intro monologue. Who is that? that's all I got.
Dude, it's like Guru's auntie or something. Like, I don't, like, who is this mystery person whose music we're missing in right now? But I besides that, and this isn't an album like, last time we talked about Primitive Plus, and we talked about Edon's music, and we've talked about musicians that have a lot of humor in their music. That's not Guru, but he does have a this duet. They have a sense of humor because they included that, and that got me. That's how you get me into an album. And then I nodded my head to the rest of it, obviously, right? But I'm pretty sure that's one of the first things that got me into it initially. I thought, oh snap, this is a choice. This is a choice somebody could make on
that makes such sense,
on a popular piece of music. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That and the To Whom It May Concern skit, that to me, my favorite skit is Premier just laying into motherfuckers, calling out his samples, because and he still does it, by the way. Like, if you listen to interviews, like, he's on the Questlove podcast was one of my favorite podcasts ever. It's called Questlove Supreme. He does a long, like, 3-hour interview with Premier, and I want more of it, right? And literally, Questlove keeps trying to, he's like, what snare did you sample on, like, this random song on another guy's album? And he still won't tell him. You know what I mean? He's like, I'll play you the original source and you could figure it out. You know what I mean? Like he will not reveal his samples unless he has to clear them, right? And which is such an old school, I don't want to get sued hip hop mentality. The reason hip hop has moved away from sampling is not because it's worse. I think it sounds so much better, but it's because it's a very expensive endeavor to get samples cleared. And if you get sued, you're fucked. You know what I mean? So, like, I love that skit because he's just so angry at people putting out information about who he sampled. Now, this is before whosampledit.com. You know what I mean? This is before, like, I think
somebody heard that and thought, I have an idea. Whosampledit.com.
But I just found that it, his anger is real there, but I find it hilarious.
I thought it was like, that wasn't funny to me. I thought that was stupid, right? I'm like, all right, I'm listening. So, like, can we put aside reverence for a minute, right? Because we all have reverence for this music. We all have reverence for Guru and DJ Premier, and like we wouldn't be talking about this stuff, as like avid fans of hip hop if it wasn't for music like this, right? But let's put aside our reverence for a minute and be real about not everything on here is like must be worshipped, and that's okay. I don't think that they would expect. Well, maybe they would based on the lyrics. Like, they take themselves extremely seriously, but like the royalty, the greed skit, I thought it was very stupid. Who cares about snitching about sampling? Like, seriously, who cares outside of?
I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
Sure they do, and like they should chill out and like smoke cigars and drink some tea or something and talk about these things amongst themselves. But like if you have something, like if you need something, if you have like if you have musical content, if you have inspiration, you need to channel it into something, and the only funnel you have is shaped like this. Fuck it, do it. And that's what they did, I guess, right? But there's like, this was not some serious shit to talk about. Like, it just happened to be what they could smash together with the with the music, and it sounded great. Anything in those vocals, anything of Guru's vocals, anything that he says sounds amazing. The style and flow is so fucking cool sounding in that vocals, right? In his vocals, but sometimes he's, there's some nonsense said on this. I just think sometimes it doesn't matter what Guru says. It just sounds good. I wish he were, rapping with MC Solar in French, right? Because I don't care about what he's saying. He's saying sometimes a bunch of fucking rubbish, right? But it sounds amazing, right? And he's a composer with this, right? He's using his vocals, I think, right? This is me trying to get inside the mind of a genius, musician, right? So flawed, but I'm guessing he's using his voice as an instrument. And he knows how to use that instrument. He's a master of using that instrument, right? Guru's been making music. I think he had his first demo back in like 85 or 86. Like,
87, I think. Yeah.
It was
86,
early.
yeah.
This guy has got his 10,000 hours in, and he knows how to use that instrument. I just don't, I don't find the, like, incredible depth in everything that he says, and that's okay. That's okay.
I want to touch. Wow, Gary, good. Thank you. I think it's a great topic to build off of, because I had my own experiences throughout the years with Guru, and I've come to a different understanding now. But also, I just want to clarify. You said MC Solar from France. We need to clarify. I know you don't know this, Gary, but MC Solar from France, who is a completely different individual than the one I'm going to talk about. Guru was involved. Dion, are you familiar with this story?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not what we're here to talk about, but I need to clarify because Gary said Solar, so I'm going to talk about it real quick. There's a producer named Solar that Guru was working with towards the end of his life.
Oh, Solar.
Different Solar, and this guy is notoriously fucked up, shady. Like I don't even want to speak on the shit that he's accused of with Guru and kind of involved in Guru's
I know a little bit about this. I know
passing and blocking his family and like all this shit. I'm not gonna put light on it, but there's a difference between MC Solar and Solar, who was directly involved with some of the darkest parts of Guru's,
It sounds like a De La Soul skit, by the way. Oh, I thought they called SOBs SOs like for short. No, but Benny, did Guru in his solo career perform with a French rapper named Solar? Because I've heard some stuff in the Jazzmatazz age of Guru where he's like going back and forth, and there's an MC that's rhyming very Guru-like. I guess he found his twin, across the sea. But like they flowed really well together, and I loved that I couldn't understand what this fucking guy's talking about. But it sounds amazing. I'm like, perfect.
Of course you would love that, Gary. Of course you would love that. You don't even have to form an opinion on what he's saying.
Not immediately, but I could still enjoy it.
Oh shit. Anyway, so two different Solars, please, everyone. No, all respect to French Solar, no respect to.
Hold up. The song is Lifesaver, okay? This is a message from the Lifesaver, right? This is
which Jazzmatazz is it on? Volume 2?
Jazzmatazz. They're all four, so fucking good.
This is Guru featuring Baby. All right, this is not Solar. This is Baby. My bad.
Fuck. All right, Gary. We need to Dion, please insert. Wah, wah. All right, moving right along. Sorry for the tangent. Moving right along, but Gary,
tangent is fantastic, man. We're keeping all this shit in, just so you know, all of this.
Gary, you mentioned Guru. You mentioned that like his voice is so dope, and he uses his voice as an instrument. And I want to take you through my experience with Guru.
Yeah.
Which was my first experience was Moment of Truth. Right, that was my introduction to Gangstarr. Moment of Truth. It just was, and the things that jumped out at me were some of his lines. That was the first thing I appreciated about him. Like, first song, You Know My Steez, when he's going, or it gets tragic like the havoc of a nuclear bomb, then I grab your palm, no pulse, you're gone. If you thought we losing our niche in this rap shit, you're way wrong. I stay up, I stay on, I shine bright like neon. Your song's pathetic, synthetic like rayon. All that, like his lines hit me. I was like, oh shit, this shit is dope. Mm-hmm. And then I reached a point where I was like, just being honest, for a while, I was like, Guru's kind of boring. That's how I felt for a while. I was like, okay, like he's got this one tone that he raps with. He doesn't become excited. He doesn't hold back any further. He's just at this one tone in his delivery on all songs, which for a while I was like, all right, Guru's not my favorite rapper. Like, Gang Starr's dope, but like I'm not going to spend a lot of time digging in. Then recently is when it all came back around for me. I appreciate Guru's lyricism so much on this record, on all his records now. I think that like his holding back, what he lacks, and it's not, I don't think it's like he lacks it. I think it's not what he's interested in. He's not like Ghostface or Inspector Deck or Biggie. He's not bombastic. He's not going to be like reach out and grab you by the jugular like Busta Rhymes and be like, listen to me, motherfucker. That's not Guru. It's subtlety. And he doesn't have these big punchline payoffs, right? He doesn't say outlandish things. He doesn't say that he walks through brick walls and hijacks shopping malls. He doesn't say that his rapping's like ZD. He doesn't have these things that you're like, what the fuck did he just say? He doesn't have the Royce thing where like, did you hear how Royce just flipped that whole theme and split? What the fuck? That's not what you're going to get out of Guru. But what you are going to get is thematic music and interesting things. He talks about things, and his rhyme schemes are very, I don't want to say Doom-esque, but they're not, he'll
offbeat.
They're offbeat. He'll flip the rhyme at the end of this, like instead of rhyming the end thing, he'll rhyme the two end things and not rhyme with the previous
or like
sentence.
the middle word from bar 1 is gonna rhyme with the middle word from bar 3.
Man.
And yeah.
Which brings it back to this is pay attention rap. I didn't even fucking realize it until the last few years listening, where I'm going, oh fuck, Guru is a fucking pen wizard, and his cadence and his flow is special. No one rhymed like Guru, no one. Yep. And okay, maybe he's got some lines where like it happens on the album after this a little more, where he's trying to convince you that he's special in his rhymes, right? When he talks about how special he is, sometimes it comes off as a little like overcompensation sometimes for me. But I think most of it is when I'm listening to Guru, I'm going, wow, like he's specifically intentional with his themes. His lines are meaningful. They're just not that clever. You know what I mean? It's never, you're not going to hear a simile that's like, oh, fuck. And it's not going to be outlandish. It's not going to be bombastic. But when paid attention to, he says some meaningful ass shit. And I'm like, wow, fuck yeah. Like Guru holds a special place in my heart in terms of lyricism. He's subtle. I love subtlety. Right? I didn't always love subtlety. But as I get older, subtlety, people who aren't in your face tend to resonate. And I really love his shit. Dion, how you feel about Guru's lyricism?
Same, man. It's like, it's funny, like the lines that I have, maybe I'll organically get some later on this episode, but any line that I pulled out that I kind of wanted to just flag, none of it is like that, like oh shit punchline. It's just more like the oh shit, yeah, that's some insightful shit. That's interesting. Like the
he makes statements, right?
He makes statements.
He doesn't necessarily spit hot lines. He makes powerful statements.
Exactly. Like on JFK to LAX. He goes, DA says it got me on a felony. I'm trying to save my life. So what the fuck is he telling me? The streets are at war. That's what brothers carry weapons for. And I take the weight as I did before. Like, again, there's nothing like, oh shit about that, but it's just like, it makes you think about it. It's like, oh shit, wait, all right, let me read that again. Okay, yeah, I gotta go read a book. That's kind of what it does, you know.
That's a cohesive set. That's a cohesive thought, right? That spans more than 4 bars. Right?
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
and that's cool. And he does that on this album. I find that also he does things like viciously. I make history instantly.
Yeah,
sounds good, right? Those other lame ass loser ass brothers, they can't fuck with me. I'm doing my thing now to lamp later on. Paid in the shade with some fly gators on. Like, I mean, yeah, cool.
I got that.
I mean, I like being paid while sitting in the shade, you know, but also like I'm reading this book to my son these days when he's going to sleep. It's the Dr. Seuss sleep book. And it sounds a lot like this, but the storyline is more continuous. And I'm like, all right. Like, I just want to keep it going, man. Like, you know, I want to keep it going. I want there to be a theme, you know, because it sounds really good.
Right, and I think the theme of sometimes is like, so the theme of work, right? Work is one of my favorite songs ever.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because of Guru's bars, but because of just the music is. I just want to I want to do a head spin when I listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I want to go get it. And I think that's the theme. I think that's the theme of work is go get it. Like, go get your shit.
And that comes across easily, clearly, immediately, right? In the feeling of the music too.
Right. Yeah.
There's a funny part of work that I didn't realize. Like all these years, that line where he goes, "See, time is money, kid, and BS walks. And to me, it's funny, kid. When you meet heads talk." I always thought he was saying when you meet heads talk, but what he's actually saying is when you meet heads, like when you meet heads talk.
So you thought when you meet heads happen to talk.
I like it better. I like it better the way I used to think.
No, but you know what? Like I don't know. Gary, sometimes I think let's take it back to like the 70s. The MC was the man to accentuate the DJ. And I think when Guru isn't spitting, which let's be honest, he's got some really great verses on this. Like, right? Some of his verses are fucking incredible on this album. But when he's not, he's hyping up the DJ, right? He's
totally.
the perfect.
It's humble, right? He steps back. He's an instrument on the track.
Yes.
If he doesn't have something really, if he's not owning the entire narrative, which sometimes he does, he's contributing to it as an instrument. He's contributing his vocals to it very effectively.
Right. Yeah, man. And that is the thing. That is the element of Gangstarr that I spoke about earlier. I think the star is Premier, right? Like the star of the show is similarly to like a Dr. Dre album, right? Like the star is the beats, right? If you listen to Chronic 2001, the reason that album is what it is in terms of like lore and legend and impact is the fucking beats, right?
Yo, hold up a second. Here's a thought experiment, okay? Okay. So let's say you're not in the 80s and early 90s. You don't have Dr. Dre dressing up in silver suits and being a disco DJ, right? You don't have any of that stuff going on, right? You have a career starting in the year 2022, okay? Somebody comes of age, starts their career. Without that DNA of having worked side by side as equals or even kind of subsistent to the DJ, will that dynamic ever develop again, or can that dynamic even develop now?
It's gone. I think it's dead. Honestly, I really do. So, like, I was gonna make this point, like, why is this music so special? And again, no diss to people who love modern day production. We call it trap music, but really just the trap style beats. Like, no offense. I if you love it, you love it. Yo, I love some shit that people fucking hate.
I love it. This is different.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So, like, but what I'm saying is why I think these days are coming to an end, where the producer is special and the producer is celebrated, is because this. I think what it has more to do with is that now production is synthesized, and beats are not only come from digitized sound that you then manipulate to make a beat, but until it changes, it also is. This beat that you're hearing sounds like the last beat you heard, which sounds like the last beat you heard, which sounds like the last beat you heard. It's just the truth. No one's going to tell me that modern day popular rap has all these different unique elements of sound and that you could hear the producer's personality. You can't. I've listened. I cannot decipher the difference between a lot of these beats in a substantial way. Maybe different tones, different shapes, but by and large the same format. Whereas in the days of Dre and Premier and Q-Tip and Large Professor, they had to their ears had to be tuned in to hear a song that existed outside of hip hop. It sounded nothing like hip hop music. Go, I could use that little thing, and I could flip it, and I could make it sound. I could stretch it. I could make it be a stab. Like Work is the song. Let's talk about Work, right? Ba-da, ba-da, da-da, right? Those are different elements that Primo calls that he's not even that impressed with that beat, by the way. I've heard him talk about it. He's like, yeah, every once in a while I just make a beat with stabs, like that's how he's like. He just talks about Work, this song that I think is like one of the greatest beats ever. He's like, yeah, sometimes I just do stabs, and by stabs, like, you could also look at like Biggie Unbelievable, which he produced. Those are stabs. Boom, boom, boom. Just like throwing shit out.
Yeah, but
spacing
also,
it out.
Right? Like,
Yep.
Smalls is the illest.
Yep. There's that
Yes.
boom bap. Man, this is what hip hop sounds like.
Yes. So I don't know, Gary. Like, I don't know if that answers your question, but no, I don't think you're gonna get this much. I don't think the MC hyping up the DJ and the DJ becoming this thing of folklore,
on parody and on, totally with the folklore and the fame of the MC. I agree with you, Benny. I think that it's like it's not gonna be something we see again because of the fact that I think that part of the reason why, besides the musical gift, right, and what they brought. Like what Dr. Dre brought and what the early,
Cool Herc,
producers like
Marley Marl.
These guys were entrepreneurial. Besides being musicians, they were figuring shit out, and they got respect, I think, from all of their fellow musicians and MCs in part because of that. Like, hey,
they were literally crafting a genre.
Bingo. Yeah. And like they figured it out, and they had to do all this kind of like, they were way ahead of. I mean,
they fucking reverse engineered this shit. They literally said, "I want to do this. I want to make a song out of records." How? You know what I mean? They reverse engineered it.
It's astounding to us now. I bet it was astounding, and also, a topic of gratitude, right, from the MCs they were working with, because that enabled them to do cooler and cooler shit all the time. So if you were one of those MCs in the early days, you'd be taking your hat off for your partner who's enabling you to do this and make it sound much cooler than it ever has before.
If you want to see a great visual representation of this, go back and watch what I think is one of the best 45 minutes or hour of television I've ever seen, and it's the second season of the Wu-Tang show, the episode where RZA is crafting
Protect Your
Neck. That whole episode is just fucking it's, again, like I just said, it's some of the greatest television, one of the greatest episodes I've ever seen. The way he crafted it, and I mean, yes, I know there's a lot of criticism on that show and what's realistic and what's not, but I guarantee that is exactly how RZA did that right.
It's a peek into his mind, right? The show,
I've never seen anything like that.
I don't love that. You guys know how I feel about Wu-Tang. I'm the biggest fucking Wu-Tang fan ever, probably, but I don't love that show. It's kind of weird, a little corny. It's
I love watching it.
Yeah, I love watching it to see the story unfold, but it's not the greatest show ever.
That episode.
But yes, episode, it's literally like X-ray into RZA's mind to see his thought process of taking samples and it's so
Gary, background and the doo-wop singers. Oh my god, it's
Gary, you don't even need to see the rest of the show. Watch that episode.
Just watch that one.
I'm taking notes, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that brings up another
link
point.
in the episode notes.
You got it.
That brings up another point of what separates this. I call 91 to 94, or maybe 90 to 94, even 89 is the hip hop renaissance, right? You got the golden age, which is, I would say, 79 to 85, up to Rick Rubin really forming the first skeletal drum machine beats that I don't love of the Def Jam era, right? But then once you get into the Large Professor, Pete Rock, Q-Tip, DJ Premier, De La Soul, this is the renaissance where you go, okay, the RZA, the Havoc, right? This is when you go, okay, I don't have to just sample Impeach the President anymore. I don't have to just sample Funky Drummer anymore. I could pull a snare from this song and a kick from that song and a horn from that song, and I could, paint with whatever colors I find, right? I think what separates why this sound is so special, why these producers are so special, and why modern day producers will never be remembered and revered the way these guys were, is because these guys had love and appreciation and admiration for the music that existed before hip hop existed, right? They all are soul fans. They all are jazz fans. Q-Tip is a rock, prog rock, punk rock fan. So is DJ Premier. I heard an interview. He's like, I love country music, he said. I love punk rock. Yeah, I love punk rock. I love funk. I love soul. And all of those sound sources are what they pull from. Whereas modern day production is, how do we make another trap sound? How do we make another synth sound that doesn't sound exactly like the last sound, but has the same vibe as the last sound? How do we keep fucking diluting
really
this
interesting
thing?
Ben. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I would say one more thing. I talked about it in the Tribe episode, but what you have on these albums, like Moment of Truth, like all of Tribe's music, like all of Wu-Tang's earliest work, when you have samples, you have full spectrum of tones. You have mids, you have trebles, you have bass, and it's a fuller color palette, because each note, if a guitar note, just one plucked string of a note, right, it has the pre-harmonic, the post-harmonic, the it's not just a flat tone, which with synth music, it is a flat signal. The full sound of acoustic instruments being sampled, the fucking resonance of a snare hitting the snare drum, there's a resonance, there's a right. If you slow down a snare drum, it sounds like this.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? All of that is what makes these, in my opinion, the sound of sampled boom bap hip hop the most special and stands giant steps above the modern synthesized sound.
Speaking of giant steps, okay, that's the perfect fucking transition, right? Because I found this quote from Guru, I guess later in his career, right? He was saying, back in '93, when I first came up with the jazzmatazz concept, I was noticing how a lot of cats were digging in their crates and sampling jazz breaks to make hip hop records. But while I thought that was cool, I wanted to take it to the next level and actually create a new genre by getting the actual dudes we were sampling into the studio to jam over hip-hop beats with some of the top vocalists of their time, right?
Amazing.
And I think that's super interesting because that's definitely inspired by the perfectionist, or I don't know if he was a perfectionist, but the extremely awesome work of his DJ, right? Of his producer. I think what I've read and heard is that at some point in Guru's career, maybe after their initial work together, they kind of split ways and maybe
they would
back up later.
A few times, actually.
They would feud a lot. They never officially broke up, but they would all there was a tumultuous big brother little brother fight mentality. They would feud a lot. They definitely were not always on great terms. That's for sure. That's documented. There were fist fights between them.
I mean, it might be a damn. This might be a symptom of that, or at least the Guru wanting to be independent of his partner, be able to get to some of the same quality sound and maybe evolve it and be his own artist in this sense. And he clearly he had a mentality of and clearly he admired jazz musicians and he admired that way of producing music, because I think this actually explains not only his fascination with jazz and creating this new genre. I guess what is the genre, like the mashup of jazz and hip hop? I guess.
Jazz rap,
yeah. So like Jazzmatazz series was within this kind of subgenre that he was the father of, right? And part of how jazz musicians roll, especially the height of jazz in New York, right, where where he's creating, etc. He's defining the New York sound. Back in the day, giant steps, right? You got Coltrane, strolling up on the stage. He's rehearsing behind the curtain for a while. He's still playing. He comes on stage. He's still playing. Boom, and he's essentially improvising his way with brilliance through an evening, right? And you got guys sitting at the piano and mumbling to themselves, smoking a cigarette, and improvising their way through music because they're geniuses. Yeah. And I think, if you're a vocalist, you have this pressure to always say some shit that people want to remember and quote. But I think, if you're a jazz musician and you're constantly in a bebop mind state and into improvisation, you can't come up and say, it's Socratic, type stuff all the time. You have to say whatever fits through your filter.
What are you channeling? Music. What are you channeling right now? Yes, 100%. Yeah. I agree with you, Gary. I agree. If a jazz musician who's taking a improvised solo is not ever thinking, okay, this next lick, I'm going to hit this note, and then I'm going to follow it with this note, and I'm going to take it home with this note. It's just expression, right? How do I feel right now? How can I get what I'm feeling out through this instrument right now?
And by the way, the songs on this album, the songs that Guru creates later in his solo career, they do, the theme comes across, even if from with 2 lines up, does not really connect with 2 lines down, because he's talking about different things. He's still along the same theme and the same impact and the same. You're getting the same feeling, so it's effective, like a piece of jazz music.
They are so inspired by jazz music. For sure,
yeah.
They really are.
We need Nate's view on this. Can we have an actual
jazz let's talk to a guy who's well versed in the jazz world. Nate, you want to chime in on this?
Are we just saying nonsense here? What is your opinion, Nate? If you don't mind.
Oh, I mean, I don't think you're saying nonsense, but the idea that they're not, but the idea that these guys aren't thinking, I'm gonna do this little lick here and then bring it up over there so that I can get, back to the one. It's like they've thought about all that already and they've practiced it and they know how to do that, which is why they can express themselves in that moment.
Right. Yeah.
That's all. But no, you guys always talk nonsense. You know that.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks for not calling it out more often.
Yeah. Thank you, Nate. I needed that ego deflation. Thank you very much. So hard to tell sometimes. So hard to tell sometimes. All right, well, shit, man. You want to start breaking down some songs?
Fuck yeah.
I think like what this album is very special in that way. There are some really fucking special ass songs, special motherfucking songs. So like I think my list is Work, and that's the beat, right? That beat just fucking gets right in, and we talked about it. Above the Clouds, probably my favorite song on the album. I think any person who's heard us before knows how highly I regard Inspector Deck. The most I
Above the
stand.
Clouds.
Yep, he in my opinion is the most underappreciated and underrated MC in the history of rap music. One of the greatest ever, in my opinion. A lyricist extraordinaire, a vocalist extraordinaire. Time, everything. He's just on point. And that song, that beat, Guru's first verse, Deck's second verse, and Dion alluded to the story, and I think we should talk about it. Dion, you want to take us through the way DJ Premier describes this session with Deck and Guru?
Yeah, so basically, they got together on the phone, and Deck is like, all right, so what's the song about? And usually, probably would have expected sort of a conversation, at least a few minutes chatting, whatever. But Guru was just like, yo, it's just about your mental. And to show the genius of the two of them, you would think that Deck would be like, well, what do you mean by that? And right. But Deck was like, all right, got it.
Yeah, Deck goes, that's it, and Guru goes, yep. He goes, all right, I'll see you at the studio.
And then when he gets there, they're basically sitting at opposite ends of the mixing table. I think Primo had made at least the intro of the beat.
Yeah, Primo had the beat, and he was crafting this sampling JFK talking about space travel.
I thought that was really cool, by the way.
The moon and the planets are there. The new hopes for knowledge and peace are there.
What a cool concept, right?
Yeah, so dope. And then
then he just had the beat running. And while the two of them, like I said, on opposite ends of the mixer, just doing their thing,
writing in the studio,
yeah.
right? And Guru's going, how many bars you got left? So, I got about 10 bars. You go, all right, me too. Where you at now? I'm almost done. All right, me too. Get in the studio, knock them down, and just like one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. Like one of them, like a song that gives me chills when I hear it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Very Inspector Deck lead into verse 2. Yeah, I leave scientists mentally scarred, triple extra large.
Wild like rock stars who smash guitars.
Yeah. Oh. That's a Deck intro. Among the many things Deck is just perfect at is his intro. Like his
the way he starts his verses. Yes.
Grabs your attention, just exactly that, grab you by the throat. But again, not like in the wild way that Busta does, but still, it's he basically is like, yo, I'm gonna get your attention right now. And then it's gonna make you pay attention to the rest of this. And guess what? You're gonna want to listen to this 5 more times. This is that rewind rap. Again, this is that rewind rap,
It really is one of Deck's best verses, to the point where, Dion, we could talk about this. When we went to see Czarface, who killed it, they knocked it out of the park. Great set. You guys know how I feel. I think a lot of live hip hop kind of sucks sometimes. I think it's sloppy sometimes. Czarface was well rehearsed. The sound was good. They knocked it out. They killed it. They perform a few Wu-Tang songs, and they always play Deck does his verse from Above the Clouds. Yeah. It's like a must. It's one of those highly revered things where, even at a Czarface show, you're gonna hear Deck do Triumph, and you're gonna hear Deck do Above the Clouds. I feel like those might be his 2 best verses ever.
Might be.
And
that's saying a lot, because this man has a catalog of incredible verses.
Well, what it does say also is I know both of those verses, and I'm not super well versed in Inspector Deck's music, so it's also those are the crowd pleasers.
For sure. So Above the Clouds, Gary, is that one of the ones that you're like, when that came on, you're like, oh hell yeah, I remember this shit.
Of course, right?
Right.
Of course, this has never stopped. This has never stopped playing as a background to my to my brain activity ever since we were listening to it and bumping it back in back in the late '90s, early 2000s
on our shitty computer speakers in your room.
Yeah, super triple pirated, whatever. Triple extra large.
Triple extra large.
Yeah, man. Fuck. Hell yeah. Love that song. D, is there any songs you want to break down?
I want to talk about Militia.
Okay.
Because
that's
another one of my favorite songs on this album. So
a song that when it comes on, you have to turn the volume up a little bit, right? Yeah. Whatever your volume was at, if you're in the car, you're gonna have to crank it up a bit. You want to make sure the people next to you know.
And keep in mind, this is a song that's on an album with MOP, and while that song is also incredible too, like this is the song. Usually it's MOP song, so you gotta like crank up and get the energy going. And again, that song has it too, but this is the one for this album. So features Big Shug, who is actually, I don't know if you know this, Ben. You probably do.
I know.
The original member of Gang Starr.
The founding members of Gang Starr were Guru, Big Shug, and they had a different DJ team. Primo
DJ
was not
Suave D.
Yep.
DJ and who was Big Shug's the younger brother. Big Shug's younger brother, DJ Suave D.
And some shit transpired early on. Big Shug got arrested and did some time, and Guru was kind of waiting for him, and Primo was part of another crew, and then that dissolved, and that's when Guru and Primo linked up. And
back when Primo used to go by Waxmaster C.
Waxmaster C.
Waxmaster C,
What? Thank God. Thank God he
awesome
changed that name.
If there's a good story behind it, I want to know.
Yeah. The story I don't know, but I'm curious myself. I need to look it up.
Who's C?
I found out that the recording session, so the recording story for Above the Clouds is great. But let me read
even better.
Some of the
even better.
Yeah, you know about this?
About Freddie Fox?
Yeah.
It's I heard him talk about this. It is Gary.
Is so hip-hop.
Listen to this.
So I'm just gonna read you what Primo said about Freddie Fox's involvement in this track. He goes, "The plan was also always to have a posse cut. We've always been Freddie Fox fans. Before we even worked with each other, we always had a lot of respect for him. We used to see him with the Paid in Full posse. He was like, 'Yo, man, we need to get in the studio one day,' and we just all clicked and had so much fun. He came in the studio with a mink cap, mink gloves, and mink coat, and he had 2 Glocks in his hip. And he was like,
badass cowboy. That is a
it gets better. It gets better.
It gets better, Gary.
And he was like, when I spit my verse, I need to take these guns out. And he did. He did the verse in one take with 2 guns clenched to his hands. Primo was like, I was sitting on his left, remember thinking, hopefully that shits don't go off while I'm recording this verse. So I moved seats.
Yeah. The story I heard him tell, because first of all, if you ever just search Primo DJ Premier interview, there's so many.
There's a lot.
He loves talking about. Yeah. But he goes, the way he told it in this interview, he goes, so he told the mink and everything like that, and he goes, and he said, he goes, I want to tell you, like when I rap, I got to pull out my twin glizzies. And Primo was like,
he ain't talking about hot dogs neither.
No, he's like, hey man, do what you got to do, right? He goes, but then I usually sit right in front of the window, but I made sure to like inch off to the side. And he did say, one take. He didn't even do a second take. He knocked it out in one take and then left.
He had a meeting to go to. Yeah, he actually had a meeting to go to.
So hold on, this is recorded in New York.
Yes, so at D&D Studios. D&D Studios.
Strolling around New York with mink, everything, and 2 guns on his hips. He's in a Western. That's the shit. This guy is awesome. I need to find out more about this person. I think I have a new hero.
Bumpy Knuckles is his AKA.
Sure. Okay.
And he's a legend.
Yeah. And the way he ends, one of my favorite bars from this whole album is the way he ends this song. He goes, "Before I slide, I'm gonna leave you this jewel. Even mechanics walk around with their tools. It's the militia." Like, that's just so fucking badass. that just sounds so grimy. I love it.
Yo,
always have.
Yo, this is the most badass looking dude. Bumpy Knuckles. He's the most badass looking dude. He's a guy who is like a lot of his photos when you Google image search him are just him with his knuckles, right? Right. Mm-hmm. But he's got some like big ass knuckles, and he's just like big dude, muscular dude. I can't find the mink.
One of his videos,
t-shirt and shit. But like I guess when it's cold, mink and double Glocks.
Dude, one of his rap videos, he's just lifting weights the whole video. He's just like doing curls and shit. Yo, he's dope. I love Bumpy Knuckles,
Gary,
bro.
this might be a guy for you, man.
Yeah, man. But so we talk about like some of the greatest guest verses of all time. We talk about Busta Rhymes on Scenario. We talk about Inspector Deck on Above the Clouds. Mm-hmm. I think we should do an episode on the greatest guest verses of all time.
I mean, this would definitely be on it. Deck is probably it's the best guest verse on this album at least. This verse is a very close second. This whole verse is just so good.
he reaches out and grabs you by the jugular and shakes your whole body as if it's like a piece of sticks. Like he manhandles this whole verse. I love the line where, like, I'm a fan of gun bars. I think gun bars could be excellent. You know what I mean? So he goes, no more twin Glocks. They jam up my plays. Now it's twin 40 caliber Walter PPKs. Like, he's talking about the fucking James Bond gun, motherfucker. Like what? Like, yo.
And there is a click clack in it. I wonder if, I mean, my thought is like, did they actually just record this with him actually doing it? But no, it sounds too clean. I think they just
I think they sampled it. I think they sampled it. But man, that's another, right? So one thing I wanted to get into, and we'll talk about it more, it was like the thing that makes Primo so special is his ear, right? He finds these great samples, but also he's a musician, right? He plays the drums. He has time, right? Musician time, not, most of us can count 1, 2, 3, but he knows where to come in, to click, to clack, he knows how to craft with elements of jazz and funk, which is behind and above the beat, and to be musical with it. So you disrespect, you get the tech, right? Such a cool production choice, man. You disrespect, you get the tech. Like, it's time. It's all about time. That sample of the gun click clacking was used as a fucking drum, or like as like a accentuating
percussion
instrument. Yeah, so cool.
It's like it's similar to two things. The Decepticon sound in that one Czarface song.
In Every Hero Needs a Villain.
Every Hero Needs a Villain. And it also going back to speaking of protecting that meth when he ends his word, the smoke from the lyrical blunt make me like that. Like that. Same thing. It's just like thinking outside the box. Like that's what you got to do. Just think outside the box and like what would sound fucking dope. Like you don't always need lyrics to have good lyrics. Does that make sense? or to have a good beat. You don't always need a good beat or a good beat part to have a complete beat. Like just thinking outside and just think like, what can go here, what would sound dope, and it's just perfect.
Damn.
If you want to hear,
I'm thinking more of these things. I'm thinking of the beat from when Biggie Smalls was telling the story of when he's getting beat. He says, "Who the fuck is this? Beeping me at 5, paging me at 5." But it starts off with the beeper sound, beep,
yes,
beep, 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 and it's like and it kicks in the beat.
I think maybe the greatest use of the sound of a gun as the element of the beat might have to go to Bone Thugs and Harmony. I don't know if you ever heard the song they did with Tupac, but that literally the part of the loop is part of the song, like over and over again.
I would think that the twin Walters he would probably rock during the summer when he's rocking, like swim gear, but like, and the Glocks are more winter guns, right?
More space to keep his legs warm, yeah. All right, Militia, got it, knocked it out, so good, so dangerous, such a dangerous song. You know what I mean? Just fucking danger. Don't like that's a fight is about to break out song. Love it.
No, exactly.
How do you guys feel about Tell 'Em What You're Here For? That's a sleeper song. Tell 'Em What You're Here For with the piano, like just like that's like Primo's laid back sound, but it's still intricate samples. It's so dope, and Guru's lines. It's like, again, they have these songs that are very impactful, and then they have those songs which is just a beat and a rhyme, and Guru kind of just flexing, and there's a lot of that. Some of his battle bars,
it's funny you say that, Ben. Like I don't have any notes really for that song because there's just some songs where it's just good as is. There's nothing. There's nothing really specific to point out. It's just like I just want to put this on and just listen to just good music, just good hip hop. Did you have anything specific from what I'm here for?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Yeah. Samples Nat Adderley's RSVP 1962. A lot of Primo's samples are from the 70s. Actually, there's not that many that are from. I mean, almost none from the 80s and a few from the 60s. But yeah, there's one of the few that's from early 60s old jazz sample.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong song. Wow. Oh, no. The end. It's so good. The end of his second verse. Wrapping up the previous stanza, nothing blurry, fuck it, I got no worries. And he goes, hearts and minds, shine bright light with insight. Since my birthright to set it up with ciphers with power. Cause mad shit ain't right. Like punks in the spotlight who can't freestyle. Sometimes I make peep smile by saying something crazy wild, like some shit off the dome that be sounding better than the next man's whole album.
Yeah.
Basically, obviously I did not do that justice, but I always loved that bar because he's basically saying like, yo, I could freestyle better than you motherfuckers write.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's true or not, but like, that's dope. That's a fucking dope line. Anyway, I love those sprinkled in songs, the songs that are less impactful.
And it's not, there's nothing wrong there. In fact, it's the opposite. It just goes to show like how incredible it is. It's just like just something you could throw on.
For sure.
There's jumping around on New York Straight Talk. There's a set of bars that Guru spits. What's funny that a dude from Boston says these lines that like anytime someone says something like New York hip hop is dead, which I can't fucking stand when people say that shit. It's just like, yo, people's moved on. It's like all about like the South or the West. It's like, yo, motherfucker, this is where the shit was born, and it ain't like there's no New York artists coming out. Like the New York rap is still very much alive. But
he goes, heard of globalization, idiot?
Yeah, exactly. He goes, rap is regional, so you can check the demographics. Everybody represent where they live because shit is drastic. Confusion while I'm giving rappers contusions and people don't realize that hip-hop is losing. They want to shut us down and I say, shut up, clown, because New York is too corrupt and too tough to lay down and just quit. Because MCs out here is kick some serious lyrics and I come with you with my infinite spirit. Like that, anytime someone says New York is dead, like New York rap is dead, I just play that shit. It's like, yo, we ain't laying down. Fuck that.
And I think the argument there is that New York rap is not dead, but it's not being played on the radio in New York, and that's what's sad. I do get that whole thing is that I don't know if it's homogenization of sound, but it's basically just we're getting to a point where because New York rap unless New York rap happens to sound like the trap sounds, it's not gonna get. And by trap sounds, I just mean, but I might not even be describing it well, but just the modern day ratchet, all that. Like unless you got that sound, you're probably not going to get played on, at least in the prime hours, even on Hot 97 in New York, which is kind
but
of
also like
sucks,
Hot 97 in New York, I guess it used to be a kingmaker, but it's not the kingmaker it once was. I don't think people jam out to it.
Radio isn't a kingmaker.
Bingo. Yeah.
Like, now the streaming, you could have a group who really do. Again, we always talk about Czarface because we love them so much, but they're a group that I think has success, true success, financial success, just by honing in on their fans, right? This is music for the people who like this music, and the people who don't like this music will never hear of us, but they're still making a lot of money based on merchandising and record sales.
I think what they also figured out is that in streaming music, if you are tapped into the streaming platforms, if you've made that compromise, like that some have not, right? Where, okay, fine, I'll give in, I'll stream my music for very cheap per stream, but like I'll reach more people, right? There is a way to game that, and I think the best example that I've heard of or seen in contemporary like state of things is "All I Want for Christmas" by Mariah Carey, right? Because so the story of this, and there's a really good great economics podcast on NPR called Planet Money that went through this, but the way like that is actually one of the most profitable songs, and it reached number one on the charts actually way after, like a decade after Mariah Carey released it in the 90s, and it's because of the fact that people put it on different playlists and it was just kind of emblematic of a certain time of year, etc., and all of a sudden
kicks off the Christmas season.
Because of that, there's an upward momentum of like, oh, it's on these playlists, therefore it's played more, and if it's played more, then it's on more mainstream playlists, and therefore it kind of it has this kind of upward momentum that's self-reinforcing. And I think that's a different way, like that's a whole different optimization play than radio back in the day. That was like a whole thing where like, all right, people listen to the radio to buy their Coca-Cola, and then blah blah whatever. It's a completely different fucking model for how to make music popular now, and those who know how to use it kick ass.
Yeah, for sure. I think about the group Wolfpack, right? So like Wolfpack is this self-produced group, no manager, no label, who have sold out Madison Square Garden through their promoting themselves via streaming and internet and getting YouTube videos, and they nailed their own promotional hustle through streaming. and they literally the first ever unsigned, unmanaged group to sell out Madison Square Garden. I think they're fucking incredible.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, man. They released the whole concert live at Madison Square Garden on YouTube. You can watch it. It's incredible. And it's one camera. It's a oneer. They literally did a oneer. One camera filming the whole band for an entire night of music.
Wow.
One shot.
Was it like one dude in the front row with a tired hand?
No, he's on stage following them all around, like turning it on the crowd. Like,
oh wow, there was no cutaways or anything like that. It was just one.
No,
wow.
Dion, it's a oneer.
That's crazy.
It's incredible. Highly
They also
recommend.
They also had a lovely album called Sleepify.
You've never
heard of
greatest,
Sleepify.
the greatest fucking hustle ever. Thank you, Nate. That is so. Jack Stratton, the leader of the band, outwardly spoke out against how fucked up Spotify is in terms of how it pays the artist. In recent weeks, Black Star released an album not on any streaming platforms besides Luminary because of the same argument that Spotify pays nothing, like a fraction of a penny per stream. But anyway, so what Jack Stratton's idea was, he released a whole album called Sleepify, which is entirely silent. There's no sound. And he told all of his he told all Wolfpack fans, okay, put it on repeat and stream it while you sleep. And they funded a whole tour just on the money they made from Sleepify streams.
That's incredible.
That's
unbelievable.
Wonderful. Everybody, nobody loses there. Everybody wins.
Yeah. And obviously, Spotify found out and shut it down. But which is fucked up, honestly. Like, they figured out how to rig the system, and Spotify, they were like, fuck that. Getting back to Gangstarr. One other song, which is like a sleeper song in my opinion, is "Make 'Em Pay." Right? It's not a song that gets talked about. But, first and foremost, some rappers be sweet like fructose. When I cock back these lyrics, y'all punk specs be ghost. I be the 7, 21, 18, 21, the illest one. I'm almost doper than anyone. You guys know what that means?
No.
So 7 G, 21
wow.
18 R,
wow.
21 U, which I love. Like, Jizza's the king of that shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But like,
Jizza,
I love throwing some shit in there for you to be like, wait, what the fuck is he talking about? And then you gotta be like, 7.
You just explained it, and it still went over my head. Like, explain the 7 and 18.
So
the letters, just
the number in the alphabet. So he, instead of the GURU, he's the 7, 21, 18, 21.
Yeah, but like,
Gary, such a Gary response.
I think that's genius.
Acknowledge.
Yeah, I love that shit, man.
It's another thinking outside the box. Like, that's that's just
Rakim does that a lot too. And also, do you guys, little pop quiz? You know what Guru, what he came up for the meaning of his name? Do you know what Guru stands for?
I used to know this.
Gifted, unlimited, rhymes universal.
Right.
So,
if
you ever are in a hip hop quiz show, remember that. Anything else you guys want to tackle? Are there any other big songs? I think Betrayal. Let's talk. Could we talk? I think Betrayal is incredible. Like
Scarface.
He's on a mission to become a
His
ball
voice
player.
is so fucking dope.
Just fucking
so
great.
Dope.
Great. Sorry for my terrible impression of Scarface, but
that's pretty good.
Kind of accurate, right?
So
good.
I love how he references can't wait to face Shaquille in the paint and school Kobe. Like, this is like when Kobe was like brand new in the league,
up and coming.
Yeah. It's like, little did he know they're about to go on a fucking run and win 5 championships. Yep. But yeah, no, it's just like, yeah, it's I thought I love when there's like references like that really really shows like the date and the age of the people. Just like, yep, sorry, never happened for the Rockets.
Yep. So
good story song though. Really good story.
Oh yeah. Both are fantastic. full narrative about betrayal. That's what I'm going to reiterate. This is a very thematic album. Each song really does more or less have a theme. you know, except for, like I said, a few of those sprinkled in songs where it's just Guru flexing and Primo's dope beats. But like for the most part, this is a very well thought out album. They put a lot of fucking thought into this shit, man. Like I think The Rep Grows Bigger is an incredible beat, kind of more in the old school Primo fashion from the early 90s. It's a setup. That guy, I think his name's Hannibal.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That guest verse is incredible, and that beat is just hard hitting. Yeah, man, there's so much good music on this, and I'm so glad we got to listen to it. I think I'm just gonna say that's my last licks. I don't know how much more we could dive in, you know, like I think we'll say there's only one. I'm gonna do the next quiz. There's one song on this fucking album that I skip every time, and that I think just didn't have. It could be a 3-minute shorter album, and it would have been better. What song?
I hope you're not about to say Royalty.
No.
All right.
I love that song.
I love Casey.
Gary, Think About Me.
Dude, I'm just picking songs that we haven't talked much about. My advice to you.
The Mall. Make money, go shopping. It's literally a song about shopping. Come on.
It's a 90s rap album. What do you expect?
I didn't have to. This album would be better without The Mall.
It would be better.
I will say,
I agree, man. Direct to consumer is the way to go. They should be ordering from brands directly and giving them the benefit of that margin.
I thought
fuck brick and mortar.
I thought G-Dep, I thought his wordplay actually in his verse was fucking dope. I don't know. I like that song. I also found it interesting that they reference a lot of just like deep cut New York shit, like Green Acres Mall and shit, but they didn't reference Kings Plaza. I'm a little disappointed about that.
Damn. But you know what? We always chilled past Kings Plaza, never in Kings Plaza. Right?
That's not true.
I mean,
Dion and I have had some moments.
Bro, Kings Plaza was my old stomping ground, man.
Well, we used to go see movies in Kings Plaza Theater.
That's true. I would go there with like my parents to go shopping, but if I wanted to chill, I would go to Sam Ash across the street, right? And then like that's one place where we'd just try expensive guitars until somebody kicked us out.
Maybe later on, but Kings Plaza, like I mean they changed the layout so much now I probably won't even recognize it, but there was a point where I knew that layout like the back of my hand. Like you go to the cookie house, it was.
I'm glad we got out when we did, though. Remember a few years after we got out, there was a day where people on Facebook were like, let's put Kings Plaza on tilt mode, and they threw a full blown riot. Only in Kings Plaza are you gonna get a full blown riot.
What?
Like literally, like hundreds of thousands of dollars of property damage riot.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Because some kid goes on Facebook, all right, we're going to put Kings Plaza on tilt mode.
That's power, man. That's fucking power. Wow.
If you ever wanted an argument for the evils of social media, there you go.
I don't hate it.
There's a Marvel series that was on Netflix for a while called Luke Cage. Remember Luke Cage?
Of course.
So
love that
something
shit.
that I realized when I was just reading up about this album and Gangstarr and their music. The episodes in Luke Cage, the series, were named after Gangstarr songs. I remember noticing this at the time. They've got episodes called. They've got a Moment of Truth episode. They've got a.
Isn't there a Mass Appeal?
Arena, right? Manifest. They've got the Code of the Streets. It's pretty good reference to
amazing
to music there.
That's so cool. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Random question: Luke Cage, isn't Luke Cage in Mortal Kombat?
That's
we've got a Johnny Cage.
Jax.
Johnny Cage,
and the guy who looks more like Luke Cage is Jax, but. That's
Jax's name is
a black
Luke
guy
Cage?
with metal arms.
Jax is black, and
he's the black guy.
And you're combining the two.
But the character Luke
Going
Cage
back on
had like
maybe we'll cut this out.
He would turn into like metal dude or something. He was mad metal.
Yeah.
Jax had metal arms.
Back. And we're back.
Luke Cage.
But here's the thing. Wait, here's the thing about Luke Cage. All right, you brought it up. We got a vent. They fucked that shit up, man. Like it was a good show. The second season was a little outlandish. I feel like they had a property there. I thought the guy they hired to play Luke Cage, he could have, I feel like it was directed poorly. Like Daredevil was so good, and they dropped the ball with Luke Cage, man. And then once Iron Fist came out, man, that was literally, they should have called that doo-doo fist. It was so bad.
Yeah, I did love the main antagonist on season 2 of Luke Cage. I thought he was great.
I think, isn't it season 1? You talk about Cottonmouth?
No, Cottonmouth is great, and I'm pissed that what they did with that character. Mahershala Ali is just fucking fantastic.
So good.
He's in.
Yeah.
But
the
was it Diamond Head? I think no.
Diamondback.
No, not Diamond. Sorry, not Diamondback. Diamondback is who became the bad guy later on in season 1. But season 2 had the Jamaican dude who I thought was great. Great.
Yeah, it was good elements. There was good elements to that show, but it just, I think that Netflix mishandled those Marvel properties, but they're all back on Disney Plus now. If you just, put in the parental code, which is great. Like and subscribe. Oh shit! All right. Well, I think I think we could wrap it up.
Yeah.
My last licks are, first of all, if you have not heard this album and you're a fan of just hip hop, listen to it. It is just the sonics, the sound, the quality, the mastering. I would go as far as to say that Primo is the Dr. Dre of New York. He's got the ear, he's got the sound. He makes these beats that no one else can make. I might put him as number 1.
He's my number 1
of producers of all time. I think he might be in that spot. The thing that Gary hates most, lists. he might be number 1 on my list.
Find them inadequate.
Yeah, well, he's incredible. He's a godfather of this shit. DJ Premier. I mean, I have so much. I hold him in such high regards. He's just the fucking best. So this album, I think, is the high point of Gangstar's career. I think it's got incredible songs, incredible production, incredible guest appearances. It's so good. One of my favorite albums ever, and I'm so glad we got to discuss it. I'm so glad we got to shine a light on it. And so it's your pick next, D, right?
It is, but Gary, you want to?
So Gary, you go, and then
guys,
take it out with D.
Just briefly again, I was just surprised listening through it again how many of my favorite hip hop songs from that in the genre of boom bap hip hop are actually on this album, right? It's like this is actually a kind of a treasure trove of really really amazing music that define my favorite era in music. So, damn. That's that.
Go.
Good shit. D, take us out.
Before I give my last licks, there's one little... All right, this is one of these Dion just sort of like... Not conspiracy theory, but just like, just a thinking outside the box.
Connecting the dots.
Some dots. This may be a stretch. On Royalty, there's a line where Guru goes, "Remember too much Jews back in the days? You'd have to run it." Right? Again, this may be a stretch. The intro and the outro sample Greg Nice's voice on Dwick, right? From Dwick from
Gangstarr has got Gangstarr has got to be the short shot.
Right, exactly. Now, on that same song, Greg Nice has lyrics where he goes, "Ooh la la ah wee wee, it's Muhammad Ali." Later on, DJ Premier produces a Run the Jewels song called "Ooh La La," and again, Guru just said, "Remember too much Jewels back in the day? You have to run it." I don't know. Maybe a stretch.
I think you're right, Dion. I think you're right.
Was Primo thinking about this?
No, I think that the universe manifested that idea. I think that Primo, this song was created, and then LP started to rise around the same time with what's LP's first group? No, his first group. Fuck.
Oh, wait. Was it Organ? No, it wasn't Organized.
It was. I hate this feeling. Fuck. All right. Anyway, LP and
Mystery Woman, Wonder Woman.
They started to come about in the late '90s, and then
Def Jux.
No, not even the fuck, man.
What are you talking about?
Pre Def Jux.
Company Flow. Company Flow.
All right, I'm gonna start over because this is pathetic. I think that it was willed by the universe. I think when Company Flow came about in the late 90s, and I think this song came about, and the universe heard these two masters and then said, "You know what? Run the Jewels will be created in the late 2010s, and we're gonna fucking make a song called Ooh La La, and it's all gonna be connected." So Dion, motherfucking Professor Dion could connect the dots on this show. It was the will of the Force.
But yeah, for my wrap up, just like you're saying, it's a perfect example of mastery on both the wheels and the mic. As regarded as Gangstarr has always been, I still feel like they're somehow still underrated as a group. Like they never come up in like the greatest like groups of all time, but they always are one of those things where if someone does bring it up, it's like, oh right, of course, how could I forget them, right? That always happens. I feel like with Gangstarr. Part of it maybe because Guru's not passed is going on 12 years now that he's passed, and the fact that Primo, as you said, Ben, like is kind of the star of this album. So maybe people just look at Gangstarr more of like a dope DJ with a dope MC, but it's like it's all about the DJ. So I don't know if that's why like them as a group isn't really as regarded as they are. And keep in mind, they are highly regarded, but like I always feel like they should be like they should be.
I think it's because Dion. I'm sorry to interject, but I think it's because they never had that hit. Right, they had mass appeal. They had their singles. They sold numbers they always were underground, right? Even at their highest form, they were underground music that happened to sell well. But they never had that hit. They never had Biggie's Juicy. They never had Protect Your Neck. They never had Shook Ones. They never had like the song that grabbed New York and therefore the world by storm.
That's fair.
Maybe Dwick.
I was gonna say Dwick is probably, but even still, Dwick is still not a Juicy. You know, it's
right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But either way, this album is a masterclass on both, like I said, both MCing and DJing, and the way they utilize each other's skills is just like it's just perfect. There's a
perfect 10 compliment.
10 out of 10. Yeah. For my next pick, so it's funny. I was really wrestling between a few albums. One of them, and I'm just gonna pull the curtain back and just say it, especially with the last thing I said. I was thinking about doing a Run the Jewels album. I was thinking about doing Run the Jewels 2, and
okay. But
I'm not gonna pick that this week. I will pick that another week. I'm gonna pick an album where, all right, so we just did an album where you have a one god DJ and one god MC together, right? I'm gonna pick an album where you got one god MC but with a whole bunch of top DJs producing. I'm gonna pick the Black Album by Jay-Z. The Black Album by Jay-Z.
Be a good conversation.
You want to talk about masterpiece? This is probably a top 10 album. I mean, this is one of those start to finish. If you look at the track list, you know every one of these songs. And if you look at who produces them, I mean, like, you know, you got heavy hitters. You got Kanye. You got there's No ID, I think, on it. No, not Ninth Wonder. Eminem does. Rick Rubin, DJ Quick, Just Blaze. Like, again, you got Premier doing all of Moment of Truth, but now you have this album where it's just like, here, what does it sound like when a whole bunch of just genius producers get together for this one rapper, and you know just what it produces. So Jay-Z's The Black Album, 2003. Give it a listen. Ben, you want to take us out?
So not the Gray Album.
No, not
I
the Gray Album.
I think we're gonna have to discuss the Gray Album. At least
we can discuss the Gray Album.
We should listen to it as well.
It's controversial. I'm not the biggest Beatles fan, but that's neither here nor there.
We're gonna get there. I think we should. Wait, Dion. I'm just saying, your opinion is wrong. For debut, your opinion is wrong is going to be about the Beatles.
Love it.
Okay. Thank you. little teaser for next. Yeah, me too. A little teaser for the next episode. Thank you guys. Go listen to the Black Album. Go listen to Moment of Truth. Go fucking thank your mother. Today we are recording on Mother's Day. Go thank your mother. Gary, go thank your wife, because she's a mother.
I'll thank her for you. Thank you.
And I would just want to say, on the note of thank you, we want to thank our man, Red Walrus. You know, all those interludes, intros, outros, dope beats, dope producer. You know, this is a guy that you really should pay attention to. He's on Bandcamp. He works with some high-level production, you know, outside of his own music. But go download his music. It's on Bandcamp. You pay a few bucks. You're supporting a great artist. A mother. Fuck her. He's a great mother. Fuck.
This is perfect, man. This is perfect.
And I want to thank, I want to thank our man Nate. We love you, Nate. Thank you for all you do for our show, producer Nate.
Fuck yeah.
In full effect.
Always.
All right.
Till next
signing
time.
off. See you next time at the Boom Bap Book Club.
Peace.
Peace.